So dear friends, we are in the month of April, almost middle of the month, and a beautiful month because it's a little hot of course, but then the children have finished their exams and people are at home moving about, perhaps some water shortages in some places, but otherwise things are okay. And so I begin with, first of all, the message for this Sunday. It's a beautiful message which flows from the chapter 24 of Gospel of Luke, what we call the Emmaus experience. Jesus meets his disciples after his resurrection. Rather, he goes across their walk or their journey towards Emmaus. He enters into their conversation, and after he has not only explained to them, met and celebrated the Eucharist with them, and that is the time they recognize. And so today's Gospel, which is 24th chapter, it gives us a beautiful experience of the resurrected Jesus meeting his disciples. I would say that this is one of the moving episodes wherein Jesus doesn't give up on his disciples. They have disappointed him, but he goes after them. It's beautiful to see how Jesus enters into minute things of their life and brings them back again. And so this particular gospel, a longer one, the longer version gives us the whole journey towards Emmaus and their experience such. I was looking out for certain commentaries and I found the best one was the Claretian Bible Diary. Gives a beautiful commentary on this gospel, perhaps with 5 E's, the capital E's. And the 5 E's are very interesting. The first and the most important E is encounter. Encounter with Jesus. The disciples, the encounter with Jesus was a really great thing for them. They were discouraged in their life. They had nothing more to go to. They were disappointed. And this meeting with Jesus perhaps changes the whole thing. One encounter with the risen Lord is enough to sharpen your senses, to quicken your feet, and perhaps give you a new life once again, to make you young again. So that is the meaning of encounter. Just as the disciples encountered Jesus, we have to ask ourselves, have we encountered the Lord? Do we meet the Lord any time? Perhaps during the day, when I meet someone, when I speak to someone, when in the smile of a child, perhaps in the crying of a baby. There are so many ways Jesus comes to meet us. Surely the Bible, the Gospels are the best means to meet him and confront him also, because sometimes we have to ask some questions to Jesus which he will answer. Like the disciples, we have seen what a lot of questions they asked him. How did that Jesus die? Why did he have to suffer? So many questions they had. But this is the result of the encounter. The second E that is spoken of here is Eucharist, or eating with Jesus. As we have seen that Jesus at a certain moment, he pretends to go the other way, but the disciples tell him, come and stay with us. Stay with us, Lord. And Jesus not only stays with them, but he celebrates the Eucharist, eating the bread and the food with them. And therefore this eating or this Eucharist is also very important for us. Eucharist is this climax, the height of our spiritual activity. And therefore, as often as we celebrate the Eucharist, as often as we participate the Eucharist, we participate with the Lord in everything that he does. And so it's beautiful that the disciples begin to recognize Jesus in this breaking of the bread. We have the Eucharist. How often perhaps we participate in the Eucharist? Has the Eucharist any meaning for us, or is just a mass that we call a routine, a 15-20 minute exercise, we come and go, our mind is somewhere? Or do we say that perhaps I will meet the Lord in the Eucharist? The third E is explanation that Jesus gives. As I said, we have many questions to ask him. The disciples themselves, how is it that Jesus had to die? How is that Jesus had to suffer? And all these things that we are hearing, that he has disappeared, he has gone. And Jesus explains to them beautifully that every part was important. There was nothing that was accidental in this life. There's nothing accidental that happens in the life of Jesus and the life of the believers. Everything has a meaning. Even perhaps some things which are not so good, my sickness, perhaps my being discouraged, sometimes perhaps even an accident, I would say even a death. Nothing is not, we cannot consider as not meaningful. There is meaning for everything. And Jesus perhaps solves or unfolds the mystery bit by bit in your life. The life of Jesus, the life in the Bible stories, Bible characters are all embedded in us. And therefore, if we believe, we also will live and walk this walk of history along with Jesus, having received explanation for him for many things. For the people who believe, they don't need too many explanations. And for people who don't believe, any amount of explanation cannot convince them. So I would say that perhaps let us take this, that Jesus explains many things in our life. The fourth E is enlightenment. The disciples are enlightened. The disciples are a little more better off now. They are full of joy that they have met they have met resurrected Jesus at the same time, that their problems, their doubts have been resolved, and in the Eucharist they have become a strengthened new persons. So therefore this enlightenment that they get, they see the same things but in a new enlightenment, in a new light. They see the same discouragement, they see their own betrayals, but they know that there is a purpose behind, and the greatest purpose is that Jesus is with them. He will not leave them. I shall be with you till the end of the world, said Jesus. And the last one is Jesus exits, but the disciples continue. You see the last part of the Emmaus experience or Emmaus encounter, the last part is the disciples go back to Jerusalem. They have walked from Jerusalem to Emmaus. They were going downwards, as it were. It was much more easier, but the opposite way. They had lost all hope, and they had gone back to say that let us go back to the world because Jesus is dead. We know nothing of him. But this whole Emmaus scene changes their perspective, changes their attitude. And now, having been convinced, having been enlightened, now they say that let us go back to Jerusalem. And you can imagine the same night or same evening, they have made such a big journey back to Jerusalem. And this time it is climbing up. They don't mind. They are ready for any type of difficulties, provided they can explain to the others, they can perhaps convince the others that they have met Jesus who is risen. And in order to give this good news, they don't mind from now on going to the ends of the world to proclaim that Jesus is alive. So my dear friends, I leave you at these 5 E's. The first E, as I said, encounter with Jesus, which is very important. Second is Eucharist, or eating with Jesus, which is very important. The third is the explanation that we get for so many of our clarifications that we need, so many of our doubts. Perhaps every day we have something to ask the Lord, to explain to him. And he might explain to us not just by word or perhaps by a phone call, by a message, but in some way the events of the day help us to explain many things of life. And we speak of also enlightenment, that the disciples are enlightened and after Jesus exits from their life, Jesus leaves them alone because he doesn't want to get stuck with them and try to dictate to them everything that is to do. Now they have been empowered, they have been enlightened, and they can move on without Jesus, but Jesus is always there, presence of Jesus is always there in their life. And therefore, this is the message for us today, especially the encounter of Jesus in the life of the disciples. I now take you to an important declaration that has been released by the doctrine of dicastery of the doctrine of faith, a declaration that has been called Dignitas Infinita. It's a Latin word. Dignitas means dignity, and infinita means infinite, with no end at all. So dignity which has no end. And what is this document about? May I take you a little backwards. About 75 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was made on 10th December 1948 by the United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations General Assembly declared the human rights, which is very important for all of us. Unfortunately, last 75 years, perhaps things have changed, things have improved, but still there is what we call the stamping or not only destroying of human dignity, but also so much of harm that has been done in the name of dignity or undignified behavior. And so 25 years have gone. Many of our church teachings, the church has always spoken for human dignity. And many of the Holy Fathers, Pope Paul VI, after that John Paul II, and Pope Benedict, these popes have spoken often about the human dignity. And Pope Francis, as you know, from the moment of his first day onwards, he has been speaking of about human dignity to a very great extent, because for him it matters a lot. In fact, in the introductory remarks that has introduced this particular declaration, the one who presented it gave it to say that so many drafts had gone into it, and the Pope was never seemed to be having satisfied unless certain things were included. And what was it? The inclusion of what we call the poverty, inclusion of migrants, inclusion of violence against women, human trafficking, war, and other themes. The Holy Father personally said that unless these are included, perhaps our declaration of human dignity will not be clear. We have to go back a little more of the teachings of this Holy Father, Pope Francis, what we call to a declaration that was made in 2020, the encyclical Fratelli Tutti, that we are all brothers, sisters. The word itself says that. And therefore there is no distinction between us. We may be whites, we may be blacks, we may be of this religion, of that particular group, but the human dignity is same, and it's unqualified in the sense that every one of us is equal. Every human person possesses infinite dignity. Dignitas infinita, infinite dignity, which means it's not a limited given by a certain ruler, by a certain government, by a certain time. No, it's an infinite. The person, human person, has got an infinite dignity beyond his circumstances. It's not that certain circumstances are created favorable to have dignity for some people. And any state, any life, any situation that one may encounter. And as I said, the Fratelli Tutti document, as also the present declaration, defends human dignity in every cultural context and every moment of human experience, existence, regardless of physical, psychological, social, or even moral deficiencies. Meaning to say that perhaps there might be some deficiencies. In the economic level, there may be some poor people, some rich people. That does not mean the human dignity also differs. Perhaps there are some people who are specially able or what we call handicapped. But just because they are handicapped does not mean they are of a lower cadre or lower status as such. The person, the human person, becomes universally dignified, and his dignity is counted in that. We also speak of what's called the Gospels speak about. The Gospels, in fact, are the wellspring of human dignity and fraternity, and the Gospels speak very strongly of this. We see so many instances. Let me just refer to that woman who was caught in adultery. Women were at that particular age also were discriminated. And being a woman that was caught in adultery, perhaps the man is much more responsible, but nothing is mentioned about the man. But the woman is supposed to have been responsible as sinner. But Jesus, the way he treats her, the way he perhaps isolates her enemies by saying that, let one who has not made any sin, please cast the first stone. And all of them disappear. And when the woman is alone, Jesus asks her, has no one accused you? And Jesus says, go in peace, sin no more. He gives human dignity to the persons. Jesus brings the children together. Let the little children come to me. And as regards the suffering, the sick, you know that every page of Bible has got that Jesus wants to raise them up, the human dignity as such. So my dear friends, this particular declaration repeats once again that what we have said so many years ago. And perhaps if the declaration of the human rights that was done by the United Nations was good enough but not enforced as yet, perhaps it's time for us to think seriously and walk with the church and work with those associations that call for human dignity, especially of the poor, especially of the marginalized, the migrants. Do they have any rights at all? The women, still discarded, discriminated. Perhaps let us take this up. Dignity is essential to human life as water, food, and clothing. And I found another quotations. Without dignity, identity is erased. Without dignity, identity is erased. I now speak to you about a beautiful theme that has been presented to me by someone who asked Father Cyril to speak a little about it. It's very interesting and I'm very happy to comment on it. What is it? The children's activities during the holidays. During the holidays, the children at home, and perhaps we may say it's an ecstasy for the parents to have the children playing around, they are always there, but it could also be agony to the parents. There was a mother who told me, Bishop, my 3 children are at home now. One is 5, one is 7, one is 9. The eldest is the girl, 9-year-old, but these 2 small fellows, I don't know how the teachers look after all the children together. For us, just 2 months, it's so tense for us. We don't know, because they are so active and so exuberant that one goes and opens this, another goes and closes that, and by the time I move from here, the third one has done something else. It's very tense. I said, is it an agony for you? She smiled and said, yeah, but sometimes it is ecstasy to have the children together. So what perhaps could we think of engaging the children during the holidays? What I'm going to say is not mine alone. I have taken inspiration from a certain perhaps WhatsApp message that had come. It has come from Annai Violet Matriculation and Higher Secondary School of Chennai, and one for the George Stephen Jesuit has given these small thoughts, as it were, which I have made my own in order to explain to you perhaps how the children could also be trained, given enough works, and at the same time excitement and happiness at home. Let me say first what not to do, or rather what not ask the children, what not the children should not be doing. Number 1 is keep the children away from the TV, from the mobiles, from the computers, electronic gadgets. That they are there always in the school and always fun. Again coming back and sitting and watching TV for hours together, hour on the mobile, some of the mobiles are stuck only. I think We can make a rule at home and say, no, this is holiday time, keep your mobile there, not much of TVs. Of course, we have to see some TV and the electronic gadgets, and some of the elder ones are so glued to their computers as if the computers existed from the beginning of the world. They have just come a few years ago. People lived without computers. So perhaps discourage them of this. Secondly, regarding eating, the parents sometimes are so happy the children are there, the guests also come, everyone comes, chocolates, and these jellies, creams, chips, aerated drinks, bakery products like cream cakes, puffs, fried fruits, hot dogs, etc. These are all artificial type of food that is there. What some they call it junk food. I don't know it's really junk or not junk, but then these are the things that people are eating outside. Maybe your children also were eating outside, but when they come to the house, you tell them, we have better food now, please stop this, and don't encourage them to eat all these things and spoil their health also. Perhaps may not spoil their health, but it creates a better, worse situations for them. Thirdly, of course, they should rest. They should take some rest. They should sleep a little longer also. But all the time on the sofa, all the time on the bed, all the time with cushions, all the time seated, I think this is too much. You spring up, buck up the children and say, get out, get up, do something. So be active, you can do it. And perhaps what you should do. I have made a list of 10 or 12 things, perhaps might be a little boring for you, but I explain it a little because these things are important for today's generation. The older generation past their time. For them, holidays meant just going out to the air, going for walks, seeing this, seeing that. But today's generation is a different generation that's glued to what we call the gadgets, the mechanics, and an artificial type of life. So first of all, eat meals with your children at least twice a day, maybe morning and evening or afternoon and evening, and tell them when you are eating about the food matter. This, the rice, the farmers have grown it. We have not seen how the farmers work. The farmers work very hard, and their hard work is what we are enjoying today. Let us say if the farmers went on a protest and say that we will not grow food, we would be somewhere else. What's the use of all our radios and transistors and our TVs and all the mechanics if we have no food, if there are no farmers who grow? And that's why you tell them, don't waste food. Don't waste food. Secondly, let them wash their plates. Might look strange for you, you have been doing this, your servants have been doing it, but let the children also wash their plates. Sometimes clean the floor, at least keep their room clean, their clothes put for wash, put for the sinks, and set their rooms, etc. These are small things which the children can do. Thirdly, let them help you to cook food. You have been cooking and mummies are supposed to cook, daddies are supposed to be sitting on the sofa reading the papers, and the children, of course, they come only to the table. Let the children come and help you in cooking. Perhaps they can cut the vegetables, they can prepare the salads, they can keep the table ready, and small things which children will also enjoy. They send the children to the neighboring houses. Your neighbors are there. You, of course, you may not be able to go and visit them, you are so busy. But the children can go and visit them, play with them, and surely learn who are our neighbors. Talk to them and help the children to get themselves identified with them, or at least give them some sort of recognition of your neighbors. Number 5, send the children to your grandparents, your relatives. The grandparents will be so happy perhaps to see your children. They will cuddle them, they will kiss them, and tell the children also to give respect to the elders, to spend time with them, to make them happy. Perhaps click some selfies with them, they will be so happy. And surely the grandparents have much to share with the children as regards their life and as regards the little, perhaps tips also for the little, and also the relatives' houses. Number 6, take them to your workplace. You are going for work. Why not take your child once to your office or to your workplace, to your factory, to your this one, and surely they will appreciate what you are doing. They know that you bring them money, but they may not be knowing how hard you work, how hard you have to work, how many people you have to satisfy, how many people you have to, how much sacrifice you have to make. You have miss your meals, perhaps your daily routines. You have to go early, come late, and the children must know this. And this will also create a sort of a bonding with you and with your children, because the children will know, I know where dad is working, I know where mummy is going, and therefore they will also be happy. Number 7, don't miss any local festival or market. It's important. Take the children to the local festival. Let them join the crowd. Of course, there will be some dust. There will be some confusions. Some may get lost also. All these are normal things. And also the market. I tell the people, take the children to the market and also buy your things from this, what we call the vegetable market. We have got so many in Bangalore now, and you get fresh things there. You get tomatoes, you get those leaves, and much cheaper also. Don't bargain with those people. They are hardworking people who have brought their produce from the farms. They have carried it. They have spent sleepless nights guarding it, and now they are selling it to you. Take it to what it is worth. I know many people are used to go to the supermarkets and order at one shot. Today you don't even have to go. You have to just post your list to them and it comes home. But take the children sometimes to go and enjoy this color of the greens that they see around. There's so many fruits, so many vegetables. Children will be surprised. Let them learn all the names, even the small, what we call the bhaji that you take there. Let them know the names. Number 8. Motivate your children also to sow seeds in your garden if you have a small one, or if you have some plants there, what are the plants, peel the fruits, know about the trees and the plants. Tell the children also about your childhood, your family history. It's very important for them. We, the present generation, we have no time to talk to the children. We go early to work. The children also go out. We all come late. We are so tired. We just cook and go to bed. And by the time Saturday or perhaps Sunday is a half a day is there, that also goes off. We have no time to talk to the children. So talk to the children. Tell them about your parents, about your school life, about your young life. Bring out all those old albums and show, this is your uncle, this is my friends in school, this is my school photograph. The children will be so happy. Number 10, allow the children to play out. It's also important. As I said, let them not sit on their sofas all the time. They will be so much, I would say, become so boring as such. Let them go out, play a little. But you will say that they will get dirty. Let them get little dirty. Dirt is also important. They should know how to clean it. And you can't protect them always with your ACs everywhere. When they go for work, when they go for interviews, they would have to go to such situations. Let them get dirty. You may say that they may get hurt also. When playing outside, they might get hurt also. Let them get a little hurt, I would say. I'm not being very sarcastic, but it's good that they occasionally fall and endure pain. We can't protect our children from suffering forever. We can't protect our children from bleeding or for pain forever. Sometime it will happen. And so these are small lessons in life which they will learn. So tell them to go out. Number 11 is let them keep pets like dog, cat, bird, fish. And there's a line of communication with these animals. The affection that you give, it gives them a certain fulfillment. Number 12, bring them some story books, colorful pictures, or from the newspaper take up that supplement that gives certain stories about children, or perhaps certain cartoons, etc., which are good ones. Let the children also know it and read it. Play some music in the house, perhaps your old songs, not only the judgy and noisy ones, but some folk songs. Appreciate the lyrics, soft music, and you can even add a few steps this side, that side, to say that you are not so old enough. Your dances of your time are also were quite good and happy enough, and the children will enjoy it. The small things children will remember for a long, long time. that my mummy danced a little and mummy and daddy were struggling to dance. It will be such a nice topic for them when they are grown up. And number 14, look into the eyes of your children. Communicate with your children. We are used to speaking in monosyllables. Yes, no, go, come. Sometimes there are parents who can't even talk to their children. They have to phone up to their children even if they are on their house, because some people are out of range forever. You have never spoken to your child, so sit down and talk, eye to eye contact. Perhaps cuddle them a little, tap them a little. These small things important. And important also, most important also, that you give quality time to your children. That the children know that you have made a sacrifice to spend some time with them. Perhaps in the beginning they might prefer their own classmates, their peers, but at one time they will come to you, Mummy, I have a problem. Daddy, I don't know what to do. This is the time perhaps you have to prepare this for these times now itself by instilling confidence in them. Lastly, I say, praying together. Introduce the children also to prayer. Have prayer every day, a short prayer that brings all of you together. Let the children also spontaneously pray, one small prayer. Lord, bless my mother, bless my father, bless our grannies. These are small prayers. And this prayer time always connects us with together. If you can say the whole rosary together, it would be ideal and beautiful. And surely when you are going to the church, go together, walk together. And I say that sometimes perhaps these small things are so important for us, that you may have given a car present to your son or daughter when she is grown up. She may use it, and at some time it will perhaps it will be thrown out. But these memories of your sharing time with them, of your giving your quality time to them, of being simple and humble to them, these the children will never forget. They will remember for long. So make their holidays, theirs also and yours also, a memorable holiday for you. In this connection, I speak about another small topic which is also quite interesting. What's called pilgrimages during the summer holidays. I always speak about not only pilgrimages but excursions, picnics and pilgrimages. These are important for us. Just as I said, the children's holidays have to be memorable, but one of the things could be this excursion, picnic or even a pilgrimage. What happens? Normally 5 things happen when you go out. Number first is you are out of your home situation or home scene, you are out somewhere. People are not used to it. People are so much homebound that the 4 walls, etc., that people have, except perhaps of school and office, they have not gone, and they have never gone together. So get out of your house. Secondly, you're going to a new place, you're going together. It's going to be a new experience because someone will be holding the bag, someone will be walking slow, someone will be worrying about something else, but all of you are together. And this kind of trips, of course, the longer ones you have to make with your vehicle, but you can also make shorter. For poor people who can't go for long trips, you can make a shorter trips, morning till evening. And I would say that if it's a day trip, morning to evening, you can even go by what we call the public transport. It's a new experience for some children to get into a bus, to get into a train, get into a metro. And perhaps even some like to go to cycling also, all cycling together in a park. It's a great experience also of an outing. And also when we go, we meet so many people, we meet so many occasions. Of course, there's a little dust, there's a little pollution, everything is there. But these things will be important. One family told me that, Bishop, we went to a place called Dodda Alada Mara. It's supposed to be a place where a banyan tree is there with all the branches again rooted in the ground, and it's almost spread over some 100 meters or so. It's a big tree, one tree that has given so many. I would say not much to be seen, but then it's a great experience that we have a tree like this. And so this family went together, went by, I don't know, bus or by this one. But the experience was very great. The children didn't want to come back. And she told me that 2 of our cousins' children also were with us. They were from the states, and we thought they will be feeling, so this is dirt, that is dirt. They enjoyed the most and said, we don't get things like this in America. We get it here in Bangalore, and we Bangaloreans don't appreciate these things. So therefore, go together as a pilgrimage, as your picnic, as it were. The third one, I say that, there's a little special bonding together when we are going together. The children especially will remember these small picnics or small pilgrimages for long, long time. We went together. What happened that time? How we saw that, how we did this. These are all small things. Fourthly, it also gives a new view of things to you. You may have seen it in the pictures, you may have seen the WhatsApp, but when you go there, it's a new experience altogether. And as regards pilgrimages, I would say, which has to be done, and especially I encourage people to go for pilgrimage in the holiday season, perhaps to Velankani, to some other place, or that's one. It also sort of gives us a divine effect, perhaps a prayer that I would ask the Lord at that particular place, an inspiration that I would get, a time that I would spend in that particular chapel or church or pilgrimage center, a blessing that I would get from that saint. There are so many things that we stand to gain from these, I would say, pilgrimages, and also our picnics or excursions, which I encourage to be done as a family in this, especially in the holiday season. I now speak to you about what we call the Ayushman and Ishram cards for the poor. Ayushman and Ishram, these are two different types of cards. First of all, let me explain what is an Ayushman card. It's called Ayushman Bharat Yojana card. And it is a type of an insurance, a health insurance for the poor, especially those who are of the low income group. The government requirement is that your income should be below 2.5 lakhs. It's also meant for the SCSA candidates, also meant for those who have what we call PMJ beneficiary, and families who have no income or perhaps no earning member as such, and also families who have a special child or specially abled person in the family. The whole family also can get what we call the Ayushman card, and the only condition is he or she has to be above 16 years of age. And as I said, it's a type of a health insurance that assures you of cashless treatment up to 5 lakh coverage. And what is required is your mobile. You should have a mobile, because you can also online do the booking. And when you put the online, it starts asking questions. When you answer the questions and perhaps the details that you give, you can even online you get the card, but there are some other people also can help you. You also need your Aadhaar card. You also need your ration card. So these things can be connected together, and this insurance scheme helps the poor. Why I am saying this is because we have many patients today, and the health care in Bangalore has become very costly. A small operation can't be anything less than 50,000 rupees. A major operation is 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs. A kidney, heart operation is unthinkable. So therefore, if you have already prepared these cards, especially for the poor, these cards can bring you a lot of relief and also relieve you from your anxiety of paying heavy medical bills. The second type of card is called Ishram card. The Ishram card is something like for the poor, of course, and it is for those who are unorganized workers, including migrant workers, and it can help to implement all the social security schemes. First of all, it can give you what we call health insurance also in case of small accidents. Up to 1 lakh rupees you can get benefit, and also it can, if suppose someone dies in an accident, the nearest of the family can get about 2 lakh rupees. And one more thing is, it is connected to the social benefit schemes and also what's called a government pension scheme, that is after 60 years of age you get 3,000 rupees pension and this is all meant for the poor. So I request that our parish priest take interest and work out for these Ayushman and also Ishram cards. My last topic is what we call, as I speak about, what's called the jewels of the Archdiocese. The jewels of the Archdiocese, as I've said, some of them are obvious, some of them are hidden, some of them are institution type, some of them are person type, some of them are edifices in our diocese, but we are so proud of them because they are our jewels. And today I'm going to speak of a special jewel in our Archdiocese in Bangalore that's called the St. Joseph's University. St. Joseph University is found in Bangalore, our Silicon City we call it, in the heart of the city, and it's a jewel that shines very, very bright. We are all proud of it. Let me just give a small history and tell you what is special about this jewel of our Archdiocese. First of all, it's run by the Jesuits. The Jesuit fathers together of the Karnataka province have put their heads together, and there are so many of them involved in this university, which is a blessing for our Archdiocese. Historically, in 1882, this particular institution, St. Joseph's Institution, was started first by the MEP fathers, the French fathers, and they ran it up to about 50 years. And in 1937, the management was handed over to the Jesuits. And this particular college was first affiliated to the University of Madras, then to the University of Mysore, and finally the University of Bangalore. In 1986, this college became the first affiliated college in Karnataka to offer postgraduate courses. So which means 50 years ago, it was the first college in Karnataka that started what we call affiliated college, that started courses in post-graduation. In 1988, it was given the credit to start what's called a research center, which means it was acknowledged already as a center of excellence, and therefore the government conceded to it the research center. In 2005, St. Joseph was one of the 5 colleges in Karnataka to be awarded the academic autonomy, which means that they themselves could teach the subjects, set the syllabus, set the question papers, and evaluate them. They were given the freedom and autonomy. And finally, the history dawns on us. In 2021 February, the government of Karnataka passed the St. Joseph's University Bill. First it was passed in the Karnataka Legislative Assembly, and later on Karnataka the Legislative Council. So therefore, it became a bill of the government, and this bill was, I would say, put into practice or made fruitful in 2nd of July 2022. St. Joseph's was declared as the university. And on 27th of September 2022, Madam Draupadi Murmu, our Honorable President, inaugurated India's first public-private partnership university, that's St. Joseph's University. What's special about St. Joseph's University? I am told that they have about 20,000 students on the campus. And there are so many faculties that the students can choose from. And surely, since it's a high standard, the qualifying standards are also high, but open to all the people, and the Christians have a special preference, are given a special preference in this college. The faculty is superb. It's an accomplished faculty. And the students rank this as one of the finest universities in Bangalore. Though it's newly started, its fame is all over Karnataka and also all over India. Its illustrious alumni, ex-alumni include, there are a galaxy of persons who are proud that they have passed out from St. Joseph's. I know a few names: Mr. Shabir Bhatia, Mr. Salil Shetty, Ashish Ballal, and famous actors also passed this college. Prakash Raj, I am told, Our Ramya madam also studied in his college, and industrialist Mahendra Jain, and surely cricketers, our own Rahul Dravid, who was the captain of India, called the wall in the cricketing terms. He was the alumni of this college, and also S.K. Uttappa also was one of them. And the motto of the college is Fide et labore. Fide means faith. Labore means toil or work, which means believe strongly. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. Believe also in the wisdom of others. But then don't rest yourself on the belief alone. Work hard. Toil hard. And that is the motto and the principle of St. Joseph's. And this particular, as I said, jewel is very special for us. And I am sure that you will benefit from this university. Our Catholics, Christians will benefit a lot, and also the others. And the Jesuits will be surely, we are so proud of them and their achievements. I present this as one of the finest jewels of our Archdiocese, St. Joseph's University.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the shepherd of this archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.